Right.
The virgin daughter of Zion hath despised thee, and laughed thee to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem hath shaken her head at thee,
Right. Making mockery. Yeah.
whom thou hast reproached and blasphemed,
Yep.
and against whom thou hast exalted thy voice,
Right.
and lifted up thine eyes on high, even against the Holy One of Israel.
Right. He's upset, man. He's upset. You know, how dare you? You know, you really know the power of that we have. He's been sitting there waiting, being humbly quiet, and today too, and you've been lynching us. Yeah, the alligator bait. The Most High just there watching.
Yeah.
Man. As a matter of fact, we can come to that precept. If the Spirit said so. Psalms 51. Yeah.
Take not the Holy Spirit.
Psalms 50.
Okay.
Yeah, you thought I was all together with you.
That's
But
wonderful.
let's finish this off. Yeah?
Right.
Yeah, we can get that.
Right, shall we read on?
Yeah, so all the things that you know, how dare you mock the Most High? Just because he's been, yeah, he's allowed you to lynch us because that was a prophecy, and burn us at the stake, and cut off our hands. There's a book called
Without sanctuary.
Without Sanctuary, and you know, my spirit's getting a bit stronger now, so you know. But when I used to read it, you know, you see that you got scales, and it just goes from there to red.
Yeah.
Boy, I used to just go
Straight to
red. Like, I'm not feeling it, man. Go on.
In a car, they'd say that's like 0 to 60 in under a second, innit? So you're going from one extreme to another.
Right. So that season is kicked in. But when that woman was lynched, right, because of her son, the son was lynched, and she was trying to defend her son. You know, she must have, you know, obviously it's her son. And they castrated him. You know, he's hanging from the bridge, castrated, pants down and everything. Now I can talk about it now, you know. And so she, obviously, you know, he didn't come home, and she was wondering where he went. And he didn't want to return home without any money after the day's work, right? Because the master, what they call them masters? Slave master, right?
Plantation owner,
right,
overseer.
Right, didn't pay him. So he had to go and steal. So that's the reason why he was lynched. They lynched him because he was stealing, but it was because they held back his wages.
And that's unrighteous.
Right.
You're supposed to pay a man every day. Not once a month shit. You're supposed to give a man who's higher on the same day.
Right.
So that shows you this is a wicked kingdom. Back to you.
Yeah, the kingdom is wicked beyond belief. Beyond belief. And there's certain things that the Most High, maybe we're going to know, you know, when our bodies are properly can take it.
Oh, I've got a precept.
And when we can bring back righteous judgment, you've got to bring it.
Yeah, I've got the precept. This is Leviticus 19 verse 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired... Sorry, let's start again. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all the night until the morning.
Yeah.
So lucky, if I may just say that. For, let's say there's 30 days in a month. For 29 days of that month, you are being robbed by Esau. Because you're supposed to get your wages every day. But he pays you once a month. And even when he does pay you, oftentimes the tax is already taken out. So your wages are already... he's already putting his hand in your pocket before you put the money in your pocket.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Yeah, back in the day, it wasn't about banks being paid into the banks. I remember.
Yeah, cash in hand.
Right, right. You know that time there. Wage packet, and you can see tax out of that, tax for this, cross this. What are you thinking? What the fuck? My back's hurting me, man. A couple times I used to think some really bad thoughts, man. I'm telling you, you know. Yeah. But that's because that was my sense of justice kicking in. Yeah, we're going to get to the point. We're not there yet, though. In 22.
Yep. So keep going.
Yeah.
It says, starting on verse 23.
And Slakia. And sometimes you have to understand why brothers, mere oppression make a wise man act crazy, man.
Yep.
You know, so sometimes you have to really just step back. A brother's voicing off. Let him say what he's got to say. You know, the system is getting to him a little bit, and he just wants to let it out.
That's
right now, brothers. You know, I'm letting it out now in a nice way. You know, in the way through the spirit, I'm letting it out, and brother's gonna do what he has to say, what he has to say too. You know, and before camp we talk, and after camp we talk. Brothers let out, you know, say what they got to say, get it off. They call it being debriefed, because if anybody needs to be debriefed, what they call it, I think they say that in the army. You know, someone who's been in the army and they've seen someone get their leg blown off over there, they've seen a man's head get shot off over there, landmines, and you don't know what the fuck is going to happen that if you're going to come home, or you're going to, when you go back to where you're from, are you going to see your family and hug them with the family again? Right, so they call it, what's that word, post-traumatic
post-PTSD.
PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
And there was a woman, she used to go into that, Drew DeGray, or I'll just say the word Jane DeGray, right? Because I don't know, I might be mispronouncing it. Or Drew DeGray, a doctor, a former doctor, but she's dealing with psychological things, right? And all the trauma that Jake's been through. And when she broke it down, she said, what? Some people have been in the army 10 years, 5 years, and they need to be debriefed, and some of them, they go mental. How the fuck, so what about us? She's breaking it down from a psychological point of view. You think that we don't need to be debriefed? We're going to be debriefed. It's okay. You understand? We're going to be debriefed. But we're the strongest people on this earth for what we've been through. Talking about 5 years of being in the army.
Yeah. It's lucky, I don't mean to interrupt or interject, but PTSD is one of the things that I've got. And I've never been in the army, you know, but as Jake, you see things when you're growing up, and it can have long-lasting effects, man. As I said to the brother before, and he was saying, it's two types of pain: physical pain, mental pain.
Right.
And sometimes mental pain, the whole debrief thing is like, if you're in the military and you go on a mission,
right,
and let's say the mission is you've got to shoot up a village. Let's just say, hypothetically, you've got to shoot up a village. Someone's conscience might be thinking, hang on a minute, but are there really enemies here? They might be questioning it. So when they come back now, the whole thing of them being debriefed is to try and, I suppose, make them mentally process what's happened, because their conscience is kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of the soldiers who come back from wherever they've been, be it Vietnam, Afghanistan, a lot of them are fucked up in the spirit, because they know deep down, this ain't right. It's lucky, if I may just say. Just last week, an army officer came out and said, look man, I want answers for what's going on in Afghanistan. We spent 20 years out there for the US to just pack up overnight and leave, and they're like, this is wrong. And he was demanding answers from his senior officers. He's not going to get those answers, and he's been discharged from the military because he's asking questions. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of these soldiers, in their spirit deep down, they know it ain't right. That's why they, as the brother said, they need debriefing.
Yeah.
They need to come to terms with and understand what's going on. That's the whole thing.
Right. So this truth this is how we're getting ours. This is therapeutic, and we're yet to get to the proper therapy.
Which is when your Hawashah returns.
And we'll be getting these new bodies. Brothers have got their own ideas how they're going to let out their frustration. The elder Baba sometimes goes into that, but that could be another time we bring, go into that. But the point is, just carry on.
Right, verse 23. By thy messengers thou hast reproached the Lord, and hast said with the multitude of thy chariots, I am come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I will cut down the tall cedar trees thereof, and the choice fir trees thereof, and I will enter into the lodgings of his borders, and into the forests of his Carmel.
Yeah, stop there. What verse are you on there?
1923 going on to 24.
All right, we can jump down now then to right, jump down to 25. Yeah.
Right, 25. Hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it?
Right.
Now have I brought it to pass that thou shouldest be to lay waste fenced cities in ruinous heaps.
Right.
Keep going.
Right. So that's the Most High saying, well, you don't know who you're dealing with here. 31.
Yep.
31. Yeah.
31. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they shall escape out of Mount Zion. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts shall do this.
Right. Jump down to 34.
34 says, for I will defend this city to save it for mine own sake and for my servant David's sake.
Last one.
And it came to pass that night that the angel of Yahweh went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses.
Right.
Beautiful.
So So that's what he said he was going to do that. And
Giving all the big talk.
in the preceding verses, the Most High answered his prayer. He fell sick. You know, he said, I'm gonna not only I'm gonna heal you, give you 15 years on top of your days, and I'm gonna give you the necks of your enemies, man.
Yep.
You know, and King Solomon comes to mind, quite similar. So sometimes you get your little illnesses, you know, and you know, we don't like the pain. We don't like the pain. We don't say, yeah, I'll just bang my finger, and, you know, and say, look at that, it's beautiful. No, it's painful, but there's a bigger picture when it comes to being men of the Lord as spiritual men. It's better to go to the house of mourning than to the
House of feasting.
the house of feasting, the banquet house, because there you're sober. When you're at the house of mourning, you're sober. You're reflecting on what your mission is, and also it keeps your feet on the ground, man. Keeps you humble too. You know, when you go through these ups and downs, and brothers have got their testimonies.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to let you go in and do, say your.
I was just going to add to what you're saying on this topic. There's a scripture which says it's better to bear the burden of your Yahweh in thy youth, and that's quite true, because in your youth you can take hits, man.
Right.
Like you get an illness and you can bounce back because you're young and you're in the prime of your life.
That's right.
So when the